Hey everyone, so this video is a little bit more free form and casual than what I normally do. Yes, we are going to talk about game design and we're going to talk about assets, but I really don't have this scripted out or anything. Basically, we got an alert yesterday, and by we, I mean basically everyone in the Northeast here, because I was in a store and then suddenly everyone's cell phone went off at the same time, and it was a system alert. So first you heard everyone's cell phone making an alarm, even if it was muted, and then you heard, at least on some of them, the message being read out loud by the system. Because again, it wasn't a text message, it was a system alert, and basically severe storm. So hopefully everything will be fine. I've been here most of my life and I've never really had an issue. But in case power does go out, I won't be able to post anything for a couple of days, and I tend to post towards the beginning of the week. So I figure I'd just put this out here a little bit more casual. I'll talk about game design and I'll talk about assets and basically how it kind of feels like my day job has gone into the game design aspect of things. So one of the main responsibilities I have at work is regression testing. So basically, like for instance, it happened this morning where something was rolling out and I had to test to make sure things weren't broken. If things were broken, I had to very carefully and with screenshots and proof demonstrate exactly what is wrong. You can't just say something's broken. It has to be reproducible, and it has to be predictably reproducible. Exactly what button caused what happened, where and when. Anyways, I found myself doing that with an asset package, and one of the reasons why I want to do this more freeform is I found myself not really being able to do this as objectively as I normally do. So I was working on a project. I was gonna make a simple free-to-play game for you guys. It would just be a little Halloween gift, and so I purchased some Halloween assets. Just navigating now. So let's start by purchase date. So these two, Witch and Gunwoman, and they're both by this creator Hit. So it's the most bizarre thing where if you install both of these packages, for some reason they install into the same top level folder of whichever the first one is. So if I install Gunwoman first and then install Witch, Witch won't have its own folders. You'll just see the files inside of the Gunwoman folder. If I install Witch first, then you'll see and then I install Gunwoman, you'll see the Gunwoman files inside of the Witch folder. It won't even have a subfolder called Gunwoman. The files will just be dumped in there. I don't think I've ever seen a package do that. Usually a creator will have a folder for the name of their company, and then maybe a subfolder if it's part of a series, and then within that subfolder you would then have the individual assets from the creator. For whatever reason, they didn't take that approach, and I've created multiple new builds. I don't know if this is a couple. I don't know if it's because this is a couple years old, which is another thing I'll get to in a minute. But for whatever reason, the first one that's installed, that's the top level folder. The next one gets installed within it, but without its own folder name. So first is that weirdness. Second of all, there's certain things that are broken. So within Gunwoman, let's install this one first. So I already downloaded it, so I just have to import it. So we'll do import. And by the way, the fact that it doesn't get its own dedicated folder, that's not just me being petty. It actually overwrites at least some files, because what happens is if you go to the Gunwoman folder, you have demo scene. Well, the other one also has a folder called demo scene, and the scene is called demo scene. So this gets overwritten. So rather than having two separate demo scenes, you only have one. So if you're trying to use both of these in the same project, you're gonna have issues. And that's another reason why I'm not doing this as a standard review, because it's not so much a review of just one asset, it's a review of the interoperability and the conflicts between these assets. And again, I don't want to come down too hard on this creator, but it seems like it's completely avoidable. And it actually left me scratching my head for a couple hours trying to figure out, because I've never seen this before. So anyways, you go into the Gunwoman folder, And if you go, they also misspelled prefab. They spelled it prefabs, but that's just, anyone can mistype something. But you'll notice something. These are the prefabs, and yet there is no preview. So I figured out what was going on. And again, I believe that the asset store should be turnkey. Okay, people such as myself have zero artistic ability, and the store makes the difference between being able to make a game or not make a game. I have other challenges as well, as I've discussed, but that's one of them. And so it's kind of challenging when something isn't turnkey. That's what you're paying for, in my opinion. So if you open this one up and you come all the way down here, this is something that I see a lot of developers do, creators, whatever, and that they'll have this one object that has the skin mesh renderer. Well, what do you notice? Mesh, missing mesh. So yes, I was able to figure this out, but in my opinion, you shouldn't have to. If you buy something from the store, particularly if you don't know anything about visuals, you want, again, a turnkey solution, and yet the mesh is missing. So this is box O2. So if you click on this, you'll notice that there are several named box O2 and box O1. So if I choose, I believe it's the first one, she appears. Great, kind of. There's a problem though, because she still doesn't have the weapons. So there's no guns, and so that means there's other ones. So I have to go rifling through here to find the other ones. You probably could guess what they are, because if you click on the mesh, you see things like GO1, GO2. So more than likely, just as box O2 went to box O2, you're probably going to find something in here that looks very similar named. And basically, you'd look for another skinned mesh renderer. I'm not going to go through that because I think that's really sufficient for that. Not to mention that I've emailed the creator and I let them know what I found. And you can see it's now properly previewed down here. So if we go to Gunwoman 02, let's open that up. So you can see it's not previewing correctly. And we have box 01. So I'm not sure why Gunwoman 01 would use box 02 and Gunwoman 02 would use box 01, but that's just naming. That's not a big deal. So again, missing mesh. So we said it was box 01. So there we go. And then we'll click on this one. And this one's is probably box 03. Actually, this one's object 01. So is there an object 01? Or again, just bad naming convention. And again, it's like all these little things. Okay, we do have an object 01, but that's not lined up correctly. That one's not lined up correctly. That one's not lined up correctly. Okay, there we go. So it's the first one. All right, so at least that's consistent. It was always the first one that we wanted. But again, why were the first two called box 01, box 02, and this one's called object 01? So at least the mesh matches it. But again, I'm not trying to be petty, but little things like that, troubleshooting makes a difference. And I'm really big on having consistent naming conventions. And again, you probably still have to find where the actual gun is. Like there's GO2. And so if we click on missing mesh, so this one just says mesh filters as opposed to the skin mesh, and we go to GO2, and I'm not going to keep going. I think I've made my point that this really should not be in this state. Yeah, so this is like a shotgun. So, and she shouldn't always be holding that. Actually, that gets pulled out. That gets pulled out based on a certain attack because she has a pistol and it's like a special skill, a special attack. I don't remember which one it is. I can check. But again, my point is, why are these missing? So you could make an argument as far as maybe they were removing the meshes because this shouldn't always be here and the pistol shouldn't be here. That's fine. But why would you do that with the body then? So I get why you might hide the meshes based on animation, but you wouldn't hide the meshes on the body as a whole. You'd hide the meshes on the gun, maybe. So again, I just can't figure out why it's in this state. So I try to be as even as possible and not be petty. But again, I believe that when you're purchasing from the store, you want a turnkey or a near turnkey solution, and you shouldn't have to try to figure these things out. Okay, so that's for this one. Now I'll show you what I was talking about. So about sharing folders. I even moved my watermark so it wouldn't be blocking these. So if I go to sample scene, sorry, wrong one. It's within the Gunwoman folder. So we go to demo scene, demo scene. So here we go. We've got Gunwoman. Great, perfect. Now if we go to window and we go to package manager, we go to which A, we go to import. This is the first time that you see weird things. See how it's showing the already installed? I've never seen that before. So I think it's because it's trying to save it to the same folder. At first, I thought that maybe it was the same package and that they just disabled certain ones. Like, in other words, Witch A and Gunwoman are actually the same Unity packages. It's just certain ones are disabled to make it easier for them. That's the only thing that I can think of as to why it would be like this, why it wouldn't have its own top level folder. Since I've never published to the Unity store, that's speculation, but that's what I'm thinking because I've never seen it do this where in the installer it shows stuff that's already installed that's not part of the package. Therefore, I think that's what this person did. They have one package, and that depending on which one you're installing depends on which portions of that package get installed, and that would explain why it has the same folder. And I just said the same thing twice. I'm very sorry about that, but like I said, this is kind of free form, and this is what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, is that I'm taking these kind of troubleshooting aspects of what I do during my day job and trying to apply it to game design, and I hope it's helpful to you guys, because to me this is kind of a mess, and I don't think I've ever said that. So I didn't actually install it, did I? So anyway, so we got the demo scene. So let's go Windows, package, which, import, import. See how it's warning that that scene has been changed? See how it's changed? So if I go to demo scene, it's only them. So just to confirm, so like I'll go to new scene, I'll just do that. So you know we're in a new scene. We go to demo scene and see the other scene is gone. We no longer have the demo scene for the gunslinger, the gunwoman. So again, I don't know if this person just thought that maybe no one would ever buy two of their own packages. I mean, I try to stick with the same, like when I was buying all the monsters for the Town Guardian game, I try to stick with the same creator for all the monsters, and I believe I did, if I recall correctly. So to me, this is just kind of mystifying that they did it this way. I only just started buying assets in the past year or so maybe this would have worked, but apparently this, again, I don't know if this is user error or what, but this should not be how this happens. And again, like I said, I've installed assets from other creators, and this isn't how they usually do it. Usually it's you have a folder for the creator, a subfolder if it's part of a series, and then the folder for the actual package. You shouldn't have this kind of overwriting. And so at first it confused me because when it came to prefabs, these three, as you saw, were blanked out. So I thought maybe they were being overwritten. And then when I dug deeper, I said, no, even when I install Gunwoman first, I still have the same issue. So I wound up sending a couple emails to the creator. Anyways, so that's about it as far as what's going on this compatibility. I'm not going to buy any more assets from this person until they respond and we figure out what's going on. We'll see. I might actually try to get a refund because I think that this is kind of broken too much. And that was the other thing I want to mention. Whenever you're buying assets, I usually check this. Please check when it was last updated. This one hasn't been updated in 2.5 years. So it looks like the original one was at the end of 2018, and then it was 2019. And then I believe they said it's good for version yeah, 28.2 or higher. So I'm all the way up at 2021. Even if I was using, technically the stable version is like the previous year, so it's supposed to be like, say, 2020 LTS, that kind of thing. But even still, that's like 2 years later. So this really should be updated. And anyway, so I sent a couple emails to the creator, and I will do an update. But there's one final issue here. So if we run this, the main problem with this one is clipping issues. So if you right click, you can get a little bit closer. You're going to see all kinds of clipping issues. So like right there, you got clipping. I mean, it's incredibly obvious. Again, I usually try to be objective. I try not to be nitpicky about little things, but that's pretty overt clipping. Like there, you just got lots and lots of clipping. I think that there's controls in the newer version of Unity that's supposed to help with clipping with cloth. So I don't know if they just need to repackage this or what, but I wouldn't want to use that in a game. I think that's way too much clipping. And since all the versions of this are basically just a recoloring, I believe it's the same animation. So like if you do type 2 and then you go, what was that? That attack 1. So you got the same clipping issues. The weapon itself is different, but it looks like all the other objects are the same as except for the actual texture. So the clipping issue that you have in one, you're going to have in another. So again, your choice, but to me, that kind of clipping you'd see in like some of the early 3D arcade games, like Tekken 1, you had clipping like that. I don't think you should see clipping like that in a new game. And there's a little bit more of it in a few other places too. It looks like that the hair does clip right through the arm. That's not as big deal because, hair does meant to be kind of like form-fitting, but even still. So I think that's about it. I hope that this video hasn't been too much of a downer. Like I said, I try to be positive, but I honestly don't think that these assets are worth it in this shape. Decide for yourself. I believe it was, which I believe was $18 USD. So that's 1818, and I believe Gunwoman was 22. Um, and the animations are actually pretty good on Gunwoman. They're better than this. There's not really any major clipping issues. But then again, she doesn't have a skirt. She has, actually, I can't really show you because of that demo scene is gone. But since she's wearing pants and like more fitting clothes, you don't have as many clipping issues. And the actual animations aren't bad, but again, you have the other issues where the meshes are missing, and I don't think that it should be like that, and I don't think you should have to deal with that and take the time to try to figure it out. Because like I said, it's just like troubleshooting at work. I installed Witch first, then I installed Gunwoman. I saw there was issues, so I thought maybe parts of the package weren't being installed. Made a clean build, clean install of Gunwoman first, and saw that the issues persisted, and therefore the issues that Gunwoman were having were separate. Okay, so I think that's about it. So hopefully we all get through this storm safe and sound. I hope you found this video helpful. And if I get an update from the creator, in all fairness to them, I will make sure that I post an update, but it will only be if they make the update, not just an email saying that they will, because there's at least one creator who, like 6 weeks ago, said they were going to make an update and they haven't yet. So I'm thinking about maybe doing a cumulative update and seeing how many of those packages have actually been fixed and giving you guys an update to know if any information has changed. Okay, so please enjoy the rest of your day.